So I've prepared something because I respect you that much as my colleagues. Let me first ask you to give yourselves a round of applause for surviving. And for me, this is for two things. One, for surviving PDBA, as Dr. Saini called it there, the pressure cooker. Hello? And the second thing is really surviving the syndicate groups. Hello? Yes. And I think for me, that speaks to, again, our maturity in terms of group dynamics. It speaks to how much we've grown about group dynamics. Some of us, perhaps before we even came to this program, have never been in a challenging group, let alone people you don't even know, and suddenly you have to exchange numbers, you know? It has to cut through into our uncomfortable spaces and, you know, change us in a way. If it hasn't changed you in a good or bad way, I'm sure one way or another, you are a different person, whatever it is today. So I'm going to cut into it. Firstly, I've gotten to know all of you guys as my brothers and sisters. I think I mentioned the other day when Dr. Saini was here that I was very reluctant. I spoke to my friend Tando when I started that, I'm going to be meeting a lot of young people. I'm going to feel so small. And, you know, things are different now. I was nervous. But guess what? Some of the friends that I've come to be close with here are some of the youngest people in the group. So I've come to really appreciate every one of you as my brothers and sisters. And it means a lot to me. Thank you. Now, I'm going to ask you to do that. I can't do this with my hands, but let me ask you to do this with your hands, combining your two fingers to make a circle, right? Right? Can we do that? Thank you. A circle with your fingers, yes. Yeah, make a circle, right. So, I want you to repeat I've never asked you to do anything. Today I'm going to ask you to do the following. Say the following words: the space inside the circle represent a realm of my knowledge. All that I think I know about whatever I think I know.
All that I think I know about whatever I think I know
is depicted right here within this circle. I must keep in mind that there is more to know than what is within the circumference of my awareness.
There is more to know than what is within the circumference of my awareness.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's a very important thing, because had we not gone through that process, and I take my hat off for the learning from speaking to each and every one of you that you paid for yourself to come here. From your own salaries, you had to sacrifice money from your own families to be here. And even those that have been paid for by their companies, it's not for free, guys. We must never think that those that came here because their organizations pay for them is for free. They have to work that time back. So please, guys, let's really honor and respect the fact that you've left your homes every morning to come here, joining the syndicate groups, as we've mentioned. They were very exciting, right? And that takes a lot of sacrifice. So the fact that you've taken money out of you realize that there's a gap in your knowledge, and by so doing, this will actually get you to know things that are outside of the circle that I've made you make. So will you agree with me that the realm of your circumference has grown wider?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. So I'll go right into it. As I normally make this shorter, but today, you know, it's a very exciting day, our last day. So I take a lot of courage from, I'll mention one person because there's many I could mention, but there's a lady by the name of Harriet Tubman. I think many of you might know. You don't have to be politically active, but if you know, there's a woman that was very involved in the United States in freeing slaves, right? And yes, ultimately, this was a woman, by the way. She saved about 74 slaves, right? And there's a very interesting quotation, apparently, that she gives when asked, how did you do this? Why didn't you save more? And she said, you know what? If they knew, if more people knew that they were not free, I would have said more. Do you understand? So it means that the majority of people, they were not free, but they didn't know any better, right? So now, even worse, she kept a shotgun, apparently. Why do you think she kept the shotgun? To shoot the slave masters? No. Actually, she was keeping the shotgun to make sure that if anybody has already joined a group, if they decide that, no, you know what, I think I want to go back to my slave master, she would say, dude, you're not going anywhere. That's what actually the keeping of the shotgun was for. It's for saying that we cannot be found where we are hiding, right? So that is a lesson to say sometimes if you don't know that you're not free, nobody's going to free you. So I'm going to go right into it now. I'm going to advise, I know it's unsolicited, but I think my role as a class captain, I'm obliged to share a few thoughts. Take it, don't take it, but this is what I think I'm able to share with you based on what I've come to learn over the period. One is that I would advise you to write a letter to self. Okay? One. It's called epistolary reflection. Now, you write a letter to self, which basically is a good reflection about yourself. You're writing a letter to yourself today. And furthermore, I've heard my good friend Manaka says that he's got a tradition with his children. And you can write a letter today to your daughter to open in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time. We know that. So firstly, write a letter to self. And that will chronicle your life and honesty and forces you to become what you're going to be in the future. Two, conduct a SWOT analysis about yourself. Remember what we shared the other day? That I actually, annually, I do a SWOT analysis about where I've been. And it took me to go down to the very bottom of loss economically to realize that after doing that SWOT analysis, I realized that it's not all that bad. I still have my family, I still have my brain, I still have my expertise, more than anything, experience. So it's not all that bad, though I might not have the financial currency. All other forms of currency I still have. It's up to me how I'm going to monetize those currencies or capital, as per Dr. J's speech. So the second part is that don't compete with people in general. Compete with yourself. You need to understand that, yes, you can take reference from other people, but I've realized over the years that the best person to compete with is yourself, right? It's called internal benchmarking, right? And this is something that is very important. The third part I will say is that normalize observation, or rather you have to cultivate anthropological gaze, right? I find that if you don't do that, we tend to miss some of the most important things that are happening around your life. The other day, Dr. J mentioned, what have you learned when driving home yesterday that you consider to be a business opportunity? You remember that discussion? So, but that took observation, right? And if she hadn't asked, even though we see them every day, you would have not taken it to mind. But I guarantee you that yesterday when we went home, if it was the other day, you saw something that you're like, you know what, I think that's a business opportunity. Well, the third part is to do with psychology. Normalize mindfulness. One of the things that I think personally I made as a mistake through my journey in business, that I was constantly putting myself under extreme pressure. And I never gave myself time to rest. To a point where when I started to abuse substances, it was for me to keep awake. And many of you who have friends or colleagues or even relatives that have ever used, the white powder, most of them will tell you to keep yourself awake, and you can stay awake for about 3-4 days. But I didn't realize how destructive that. But use mindfulness as opposed to using substance or alcohol or any other form, right? Curate your circle. That speaks to today's topic. If you don't curate your circle, you'll find your phone with 3,000 people on your phone, but you need to look at how much value that adds into your life. So be deliberate about your relationship investment. Like they say that by the way, this is an old African proverb. There's a saying or thinking that proverbs were made in Europe and they'll call these English names. In fact, when they say that you are the average of 5 friends that you have. It's actually an old African proverb, apparently, but now we are told it's from Jim Brown, but I'm sure he bought it from somewhere. Next point is that practice intellectual humility. You know, I think I commented a few times about hubris, that sometimes you just feel so important that you feel like you're more important than other people. You know, you put yourself in this extreme sense of self-importance. That's dangerous. So exercise humility, or rather suspended certainty. Embrace failure as a pedagogy, right? So without saying much, we've learned from the case study that she spoke about herself. Many of us shared our own experiences. So embrace failure. Actually, in most cases, and I've learned this from engaging with Americans, Dr. J, if you have not failed in business, and failed big for that matter, they don't want to do business with you. So fail, but fail big. Because at least if you try to reach for the stars, maybe you'll fall somewhere, in the middle by the moon. So I'll encourage you to go for those big dreams. Pursue lifelong learning. I won't say much about that. She's already mentioned it. Be of service, again, is something that has been mentioned quite extensively. Live with intentionality, right? You need to design your life. Don't let someone be an architect of your life. Be the architect of your own life. And in so doing, you design your own destiny. And finally, to my colleagues, I will definitely say to you that celebrate this journey and honor the process, because success is not a singular destination. So celebrate the small wins. Celebrate the small achievements that you have. And everything that you do will pivot you in the right direction. Consistency is the key. It's not about coming up with the best idea, even if you believe it's a small idea, but if you consistently work at it like an artist carving through wood, ultimately what will come out there is going to be a masterpiece. To Dr. J, on behalf of the PDBA cohort, I'd like to just share a few pointers that I've prepared. Firstly, you've been a catalyst of entrepreneurial cognition for us, an architect of entrepreneurial pedagogy, a curator of innovative ecosystems, an engineer of entrepreneurial resilience, looking at the cases that you've gone through, a mentor in strategic foresight. Even though it was very short, but these few days we've spent with you, I can assure you that many of us have taken lessons that in many cases should have taken days or even weeks to be able to capture. You reminded us that sustainable entrepreneurship is not only about economical viability, but about socially responsive and ethically grounded principles. Inspirer of entrepreneurial identity and formation. Perhaps most importantly, you guided us in the construction of our entrepreneurial selves. We exit not just as students, but as aspirant founders, entrepreneurs, and architects of economic and social change. So thank you very much for that. We appreciate you, we love you, and we hope that we will connect with you in business, in our social circles, and on LinkedIn. And perhaps in closing, I can say that Dr. J just started a YouTube channel. I'm following her on her YouTube channel. Kindly go and check it out and follow her on YouTube. The kind of things she teaches there is amazing. Please go and follow her on YouTube channel. It's called @DrJBiz, Dr. JBiz Biz, and also on her website. So I think with those few words, I would like to extend on behalf of this class that we appreciated everything that you've taught us and more. Thank you very much for allowing us this moment. Thank you.